You are standing in the laundry aisle, or you were there last week, staring at a wall of plastic jugs priced anywhere from $12 to $30 each. What you are looking at is the commercial replacement for wood ash lye, the original laundry cleaning agent that Appalachian families, colonial settlers, and Old Order Amish communities used for 200 years before Procter & Gamble launched Tide in 1946. You put one of those jugs in the cart. You always put one in the cart, because every signal around you says there is no other way. There is a way. It costs nothing. It takes 30 minutes, and it runs on something you are already throwing away. The method is called bucking, and the primary cleaning agent is potassium carbonate, also called potash, extracted from wood ash through a process that drives a chemical reaction called saponification, the same reaction at the core of every soap and detergent ever made. There is one specific detail buried inside this method, a single step that almost nobody outside these communities knows, and that detail is the difference between a mild rinse and a genuine cleaning agent. That detail is coming. First, though, you need to see exactly what the modern replacement is actually costing you. Here is the number. Procter & Gamble's own published figures place the average American household at 300 to 390 laundry loads per year. At 20 to 40 cents per load for detergent alone, with fabric softener and dryer sheets stacked on top, you are spending between $150 and $600 every single year on a product that did not exist before 1947. Read that sentence again, and ask yourself who exactly was being protected when the old method quietly disappeared. Here is what Appalachian families did instead. They saved wood ash from the fireplace, collected rainwater, and ran the water through the ash in a wooden vessel called an ash hopper, a tapered container designed to hold ash above a collection point so that water could percolate down through it slowly. What dripped out the bottom was lye water. They called the laundry process bucking, and clothes placed into a bucking tub with that lye solution soaked for 30 minutes to several hours and came out clean. No store, no jug, no bill. Old Order Amish communities in Ohio and Pennsylvania continue this practice today as a living tradition, not as nostalgia, but because it produces results. The Foxfire book series, the landmark documentation of Appalachian traditional skills, first published in 1972, recorded this process in detail directly from practitioners, one of the few places in print where the full method survived the transition to mass-market consumer culture. Now let me tell you about the mechanism, because this is where the chemistry actually matters. Wood ash carries potassium carbonate, also called potash. When water dissolves potassium carbonate, it produces a strongly alkaline solution, typically registering between pH 9 and pH 11 depending on ash concentration, and high alkalinity breaks down oils and fats on fabric through saponification. It loosens protein-based soils and lifts dirt from fibers without a single synthetic compound or surfactant involved. The best ash comes from hardwoods. Oak, hickory, apple, and pear all produce strong, clean lye water. Softwoods like pine carry resinous compounds that interfere with the extraction, so avoid them entirely. Here is where the story gets uncomfortable. Synthetic detergents were not invented because lye water stopped working. German chemists developed alkyl sulfonates in 1916 as a wartime substitute when fat and oil supplies ran short. Part of the marketing push that followed leaned on hard water, the mineral-heavy tap water common across much of the American Midwest and South, as a reason that traditional soap-based cleaning was unreliable. Synthetic surfactants performed more consistently in hard water conditions, and that was a real and useful property. But it was one property among several, and it became the entire story. After the Second World War, Procter & Gamble launched Tide in 1946. By 1949, their synthetic detergent production had already overtaken their soap production entirely. The American Chemical Society's National Historic Chemical Landmarks Program documented this displacement in a 2006 report titled The Development of Tide, describing the shift plainly. Synthetic detergents were presented as not just alternatives to soap, but in many cases as superior cleaning agents. The market followed the marketing. The old method did not fail. It was outspent. Environmental cost arrived quietly behind that. Synthetic detergents relied heavily on phosphates, specifically sodium tripolyphosphate, as builders that softened water and boosted cleaning performance. When that wastewater entered rivers and lakes, phosphate additives refused to break down, and algae blooms followed. The ash water method that had cleaned Appalachian laundry for 200 years left no such residue, and it never did. Now, if you are thinking this only applies to someone with a farmstead and a working fireplace, stay with me, because this next part is specifically for you. 4 things. A 5-gallon food-grade plastic bucket with drainage holes drilled in the bottom costs $5 to $8 at any hardware store as of 2025. A handful of straw or an old cloth as a filter layer goes inside the bucket and runs free. Hardwood ash from any wood stove, backyard fire pit, or neighbor's fireplace costs nothing. Rainwater or distilled water costs nothing. The total ongoing cost after that one-time bucket purchase stays at 0. Drill the holes, layer in the straw, pack in the ash, pour the water through slowly, and collect whatever drips out the bottom. Soak your laundry for 30 minutes, then rinse thoroughly. One rule carries real weight here. Never use aluminum containers, because lye reacts with aluminum and destroys the metal. Use glass, wood, or stainless steel for collection and storage. The whole process runs under 90 minutes on the first attempt, and under an hour once you have done it twice. The specific detail I promised, though, is still ahead. And it changes everything about how strong this solution can actually become. Here is the honesty. The mainstream industry counterpoint deserves a fair hearing. Synthetic detergents perform well in cold water in a way that straight lye water does not, because cold temperatures slow the alkaline reaction and reduce its cleaning force. That is a real limitation, not a manufactured one. The rebuttal, though, is equally real. Heat the water before soaking, or leave the laundry in a cool solution overnight, and that limitation disappears entirely. Hazel Farmer of Union County, Georgia, described the full process in a recorded oral history interview conducted by Martha Clement in June of 2005. Her words were direct. The way we made lye was everybody had an ash hopper. You put all your ashes in it. Water runs in and drips out at one side and it makes lye. You did your washing on a washboard with lye soap. She was not describing a workaround. She was describing the standard. Straight wood ash lye water contains primarily potassium carbonate. Alkaline, yes. Functional, yes. But not the strongest form the solution can reach. To put that in context, commercial sodium hydroxide, the lye used in industrial soap making today, operates at full caustic strength from the start. Traditional practitioners in the 1700s discovered that adding a small amount of slaked lime, calcium hydroxide, to the ash water triggers a second chemical reaction called causticization. The potassium carbonate converts into potassium hydroxide, a dramatically more potent cleaning agent that requires far less contact time with fabric to do its work. Slaked lime sells today as pickling lime in most grocery stores, priced at $3 to $5 per pound as of 2025. A tablespoon stirred into your collected lye water for several minutes converts a mild alkaline wash into a solution the Appalachian tradition used for serious cleaning work. Every modern guide to wood ash laundry leaves this step out. The commercial industry never mentioned it because it eliminates any reason to buy a substitute. The tradition also holds that practitioners tested strength the old way, float an EGG in the solution, and when it rode high enough, the lye was ready. This knowledge did not originate in Appalachia. Around 2200 BC, Babylonian cooks stumbled onto the saponification reaction accidentally when animal fat came into contact with wood ash and water over an open fire. And the chemistry has remained unchanged across 4,000 years. Wood ash lye served as the primary cleaning agent across North America and Europe until commercial soda ash became available in settled regions during the mid-1800s. And only then did the self-sufficient method begin its slow erasure. Appalachian families held on to it longest because supply chains reached the mountains last and because the knowledge traveled by hand rather than by shelf. The difference is what you hand over every year for a plastic jug. The difference is what enters the watershed every time that jug gets used. The difference is what was quietly removed from your household knowledge while an industry built its entire revenue model on the space left behind. If this channel has linked a reference guide for this process in the description below, pull it down. The specifics on ash type, lime ratio, and container materials are all there. If you are the kind of person who believes that real knowledge has been quietly buried to protect someone else's revenue, you already know what to do. Subscribe so the next piece reaches you. Next video, I'm going to show you a traditional Appalachian method for preserving food without refrigeration or canning equipment. There is one specific mineral compound in that process I have only ever found referenced in a single mid-century extension bulletin from a land-grant university, and most modern preservation guides leave it out entirely. That omission is why most attempts spoil. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Tell me in the comments what wood source you have access to right now, and whether you have ever tried making anything from scratch with ash. This audience carries knowledge the internet has not indexed yet. Put it in the comments.